It's time to incinerate the newest pseudo-documentary that attempts to expose the globe. We'll debunk this now. Divide into 3 parts.
Okay, level with me here. There's this idea that we live on a ball and it's spinning and traveling through space at unfathomable speeds, yet you can't measure it, you can't repeat it or observe it.
Well, he measured Earth's spin with a ring laser gyro. Also, the word unfathomable,
traveling through space at unfathomable speeds,
screams incredulity.
At this point, it becomes a religion.
Science is not a religion.
What are you holding on to? Do you care what other people think? Are you just worried what your friends and family are going to say? Is it your satellites?
No. Science is the pursuit of truth, not a lie generator, nor a truth generator. Stop manipulating the scientific method to fit your beliefs.
Is it your aliens? There are no satellites in the vacuum of space. Satellites are satelloons. You're aliens. Let's say you're an outer space alien fanatic. What if I told you you can have your aliens too? That they come from outer space, not upper space, but outer space. They are extraterrestrials. Terrestrial meaning terrain, meaning land.
Aliens are still hypothesized. There is something called astrobiology. And what you said about terrestrial is an appeal to definition.
So what is it? What's stopping you? You've never seen curvature with your own eyes.
These would beg to differ.
You never felt the earth spinning. You've never been able to observe and measure these claims.
Well, he measured Earth's spin with a ring laser gyro. We also do not feel Earth's spin as it is 0.000694 revolutions per minute, or 0.25 degrees per minute. Also, will a ball in the plane at cruising altitude immediately go back to the back upon dropping? No, because of inertia. We cannot feel constant velocity. A plane at constant velocity is at cruising altitude. So, sitting on a plane at cruising altitude is like sitting on the ground. So sorry, your tantrum doesn't work.
You're an accident. You have no purpose. What's stopping you? Look out here. There's no curvature.
These would beg to differ.
120,000 feet.
Can you stop cherry picking? This is getting embarrassing. It shows a concave Earth.
30,000 feet, it's nowhere to be seen. Where's the curve? It's time to pay attention. It's time to wake up. It's time to become free.
Eight, 7, 6. We have main engine start. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now we are getting to the real juice here. You think the space shuttle is fake, so to confirm this you think automatically the Challenger disaster was staged.
The 7 NASA astronauts supposedly killed in the 1986 Challenger disaster did not die in the explosion and are quietly living out their lives in the US, with many of them hiding in plain sight, using their same names and working at high levels in the same fields they worked in before the disaster, according to explosive evidence uncovered by investigators.
We've located 6 out of 7 of them. In the world of deception, it's really easy to say this person is that person, and there's a lot of that going on, muddying the waters. But 6 out of 7 have identical names. They work for universities.
Nobody familiar with either person would confuse these two Judith Resnicks with each other, as they have very different facial structures. And while Judith Resnick, the electrical engineer, was engaged in work and study at RCA, NIH, Xerox, and NASA in the 1970s and 80s, Judith Resnick, the lawyer, was teaching law school classes at Yale and USC. How someone could have been simultaneously, not to mention secretly, holding down 2 completely disparate jobs at opposite ends of the country remains unexplained. Same problems. These 2 Sharon McAuliffes don't really look all that much alike, and while Krista McAuliffe, she went by her middle name rather than Sharon, the schoolteacher was obtaining degrees in education from Framingham State College, Massachusetts, and Bowie State University, Maryland, teaching social studies at Concord High School, New Hampshire, and training with NASA. Sharon McAuliffe, the lawyer, was attending Syracuse University and working for an accounting firm in Syracuse, New York. Lastly, yes, the late Ronald McNair looked a lot like his brother, Carl, as many siblings do. But they're still easy to tell apart, as Carl has an obvious gap in his front teeth that Ronald didn't. And this proves what? Exactly. It might be a curiosity if there were no record of the existence of Carl McNair until after the Challenger explosion, but that isn't the case. Are we supposed to believe that Ronald secretly took over his brother's identity after the Challenger accident and somehow engineered the disappearance of the real Carl? Of course, the real point of this comparison is that the creators of this conspiracy theory couldn't find a similarly named doppelganger for Ronald McNair other than his own brother. Thanks, Snopes.
There were no people in.
These two scobies are similar in appearance, but there are distinct differences that can't be accounted for by the passage of years, such as the difference in ear shapes. Moreover, at the time that Francis Richard Scobie, the former Air Force pilot, was training with NASA as an astronaut and serving as an instructor pilot for the Shuttle's 747 carrier aircraft, Richard Scobie, the current CEO of Cows in Trees, was serving as CEO and president of the Marketing Edge, Inc. in Chicago. The same man couldn't have been holding down two such disparate jobs, in two widely separated geographic locations, at the same time. Again, the shocking revelation that someone looked a lot like his brother. And again, the creators of this theory couldn't find a similarly named doppelganger for one of the Challenger astronauts other than his own brother. A fellow named Michael J. Smith, who bears a striking resemblance to NASA Challenger pilot Michael J. Smith, 30-year time-lapse considered, is to be found alive and well, teaching at UW, University of Wisconsin, Madison. As of today, Michael J. Smith should be 78 years old. Well, the University Michael J. Smith should also be 78 years old too. So why aren't they the same person? They are not born in the same day. Michael J. Smith, the astronaut, was born on April 30, 1945. Michael J. Smith, the professor, was born on May 12, 1945. So, that's why. Thanks, Snope. And now we pause for a pertinent question. Why has Gregory Jarvis been completely skipped over in this accounting of dead Challenger astronauts who are seemingly carrying on today as if nothing had ever happened to them? The simple answer is that it's because someone couldn't find any online photographs of another Gregory Jarvis who credibly resembles payload specialist Gregory Jarvis.
So imagine you're at the launch of the Challenger. This is a historic moment and it blows up in midair. Whether you are personally related to somebody on there or don't know anybody, you're going to be a mess. This is an emotional, incredible scene. And CNN was reporting, and they told the cameraman, let's get a live shot of Krista's parents. And when they zoomed in on them, they were giggling, they were laughing, they were smiling.
Didn't everyone become sad after they realized what happened?
So statistically speaking, the odds that almost everyone on the Challenger have exact lookalikes with exact names still existing is kind of laughable, honestly. Exact doppelgangers existing in the world with the same names, and when confronted they get very nervous and their stories begin to conflict and they have the same mannerisms. You know, it doesn't take a lot to put it together, honestly.
Let's start with former NASA astronaut Michael J. Smith, with the same name as this retired professor from the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Are you Michael Smith?
Yeah.
Professor at university?
Retired.
Retired?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just stopped by because there's this room. Are you aware of that? There's a rumor on the internet.
It's not me.
That people are saying.
Yeah, it's not me, obviously. I mean, anybody that looks at my background, looks where I was born, it's not me. I mean, it's interesting that the Michael J. Smith that was the astronaut looks something like me when we were younger. But really not, if you really look at facial recognition.
You never been a pilot, never been in the military?
Nothing like that.
This is a stupid confrontation. This Michael J. Smith was born on May 12, 1945. The one that was an astronaut was born on April 30, 1945.
I'm gonna get one of these signs, that's all right. My name's Justin. Yes. Yes, what I am. Orlando. Yeah, not too far. No, I'm okay on a picture, thank you. I do have a question though. Sometimes when we're watching the ISS footage, you'll see the astronauts sometimes connected to like wires and harnesses. Is that to keep them like in the frame during the broadcast, or what's the reason for that?
I haven't actually seen them while they're inside the shuttle.
Yeah, like when they're inside the ISS, sometimes during the feeds, the broadcast, you'll see kind of pulling on their belts or something like that.
I have not personally seen that.
Oh, really?
I know that they, they try to be still when they're doing
Right.
tight and so on, and then they usually kind of like
Yeah, because I've seen the foot before, and almost like a foot was caught like inside something, but there was nothing really there. It was really strange. I didn't know if there was something to kind of like hold it in place or something.
We've never had anything like
Oh, okay.
that, but they may have learned over time that it was hard to stay still. And
Yeah. Did you ever think the public would find out that all the spacewalks were filmed underwater? Did you ever comment on that?
Well, we train underwater.
Oh, okay. So only training?
Only training.
Okay.
Most of the public have no idea that the ISS is located in an underwater neutral buoyancy lab in Houston, Texas. The space station footage that they trick us with is not traveling at 17,500 miles per hour above your head. It's all being filmed.
These bubbles go up. In space, these bubbles are not bubbles, but rather are ice crystals. The actual bubbles only go in a particular direction. The ice crystals go everywhere.
Here on Earth. An exact ISS replica underwater. Coincidence? It's a pretty simple process. Film your footage underwater, remove the water layer, add in your CGI Earth layer.
You manipulated the footage. If it really were filmed underwater, all the bubbles would go in a straight particular direction, not everywhere.
And cast your spell.
They literally spray hairspray in their hair to make it look like their hair is floating in zero gravity.
The International Space Station, brought to you by the same guys who faked 6 moon missions. Yeah, I believe that. I don't know exactly how they're videotaping themselves. They could be on one.
Zero-G and hanging wires are ruled out. There is a 24/7 live feed from the ISS, which occasionally glitches out. You can't have a 24/7 zero-G environment all the time in a zero-G plane. Hanging wires would also make the astronauts uncomfortable after quite a long time.
One of those zero-G planes and, doing it all in there. I'm not sure how they're doing it, but I don't believe it at all. It looks like a bunch of green screen fuckery.
Where is the original source of this clip with a monitor showing a green screen ISS? Or did you just add the green screen?
People can watch all these fuck-ups and trickery by NASA and all these other space agencies, and all that goes out the window because they see a little light in the sky, and it's the ISS. Oh yeah, that's the ISS. That's all the proof they need, and everything else goes out the window.
The view will still be A-OK out there, and all you need to look for is a bright light in the sky that will be moving, and that'll be the space station.
I've seen the light go from horizon to horizon. There's many problems with that light. First, it's as bright as the sun. It's really bright. How is the ISS reflecting that light as bright as the sun back to me the whole way across? Is it made of mirrors? Is that mirror following me? Right? How would somebody 10 miles away see the same reflection because it can't reflect in all directions?
The ISS is only visible at dawn or dusk, and it's only visible because it reflects sunlight. At night, no sunlight. At day, too much sunlight overwhelms the ISS's brightness. And if you can see it, then it's there.
Why is there a satellite on a balloon?
You can see the ISS transients the moon. No balloon.
If all these satellites are moving 17,500 miles an hour, some are moving this way, some are moving that way, it's common sense. There's 50,000 of them. They're supposed to hit each other eventually.
Yes, there are plenty of satellite collisions that happened. Most notably, on Wikipedia, the 1996 collision between the French Cerise military reconnaissance satellite and debris from an Ariane rocket was one of them. The other was a 2009 collision between the Iridium 33 communications satellite and the derelict Russian Cosmos 2251 spacecraft, which resulted in the destruction of both satellites. The ISS does hit some space debris.
But none of them hit each other? Come on, guys. Wake up. There's no satellites. There's no proof of them. The only proof we have are things floating on balloons.
These would beg to differ.
Arthur C. Clarke in the 50s wrote a book theorizing about satellites falling around on Earth in an endless fall. Shortly after, we all of a sudden had satellites falling around the Earth. Now think about it. The Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. It's orbiting in an elliptical orbit, speeding up and slowing down at 66,000 miles an hour. It's chasing the sun.
Not chasing the sun, The Earth does not rotate 1,000 miles per hour, it orbits the Sun. It rotates at 0.25 degrees per minute, or 15 degrees per hour. Thanks, Bob.
Another curved orbit, and we somehow have geostationary satellites. That's a satellite that stays above the same plot of land. So it's mimicking the spin, it's mimicking the orbit, it's speeding up and slowing down and staying over that same plot of land, and it's just falling in a never-ending fall.
Incredulous old-timer, conservation of momentum exists.
That makes absolutely no sense.
And now it's openly accepted that they're on balloons, but they're making it seem like it's a new thing. And this is the new way we're going to launch satellites, is on balloons, and it's cheaper, and it's just better. Like, we don't need them space ones no more. You know, people are starting to figure it out. That's why they're going back to balloons.